What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sir Taco's Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at the leader class. I want to say it's Seige Cybertron Upgrade Optimus Prime figure, which is basically just a remold of the Seige Ultra Magnus figure, and being that the legs have similarities and the main body has similarities and everything else is basically different. And it's styled to look like the old Cybertron Optimus Prime figure. We'll just start looking at the vehicle from the side. You've got silver painted on all the wheels. You've got the silver paint on these wings here. You've got the shape of the faux wheels that are going to be on the wings later on. You've got this silver stripe here that I'm kind of obscuring with that gun. The big old guns on top are all painted in silver. On the bottom, you can see the black paint for those wheels. You've got these gray heel struts and things coming around to the back. You've just got silver for the leg detail. Nothing up here on these molded details, which are molded to look like the kneecaps from Cybertron Optimus. So these were on Seige Ultra Magnus 2, which leads me to believe that they were intending to make this from the beginning. Like I've said, these guns don't help either. They came with Seige Ultra Magnus, but not Earthrise. So these are a dead ringer pretty much for the guns that were on the trailer for for Cybertron Optimus Prime, and they end up on the legs. And since these ones can be taken out, you can pretty much plonk them anywhere you want. But I like them here, one, because they're on the legs already, and they're on the right legs, and two, there's so much weight on this hinge with the guns and the wings that when you take the trailer off, they tend to flop about. So I put this gun here and leave it rotated this way until I'm ready to transform the trailer, and it keeps it nice and compact. We'll see that later. And then for the top of the truck, you've just got big old silver guns, a robot head down in there, a robot chest down in there, and a robot shoulders tucked away in there. So not the greatest looking from the top, but that's fine. We'll just turn them to the side and take a look at the front. On the front, you've got a nice white stripe kind of painted along here, silver grille. I believe this is transparent blue plastic with yellow paint for the lights. Then you've got actual blue plastic and gray plastic coming together to form the bumper look that he's going to have. And, I mean, it looks pretty good as Cybertron Optimus Prime until you get about to the shoulders. But unlike the leader Earthrise Ultra Magnus, his hands are covered up by this gray panel. For the most part, unless you look directly under here, you're not really going to see that they're hands. The upgrade kit that would come with this guy would have swung this wheel forward and put it in here, and you don't really see these wheels here, so I wouldn't necessarily miss it if it did swing up in there, and that would fill that gap out. But all in all, I really do like this truck mode. It really does. I never had the original Cybertron figure, but my friend did. Like always, my friend had all the ones I didn't have, and I liked it. It was looser. It was kind of loose in the wing areas though, so this one doesn't have that issue as much, unless you've got everything flopping around. Once you've got it all tucked up nice, it's pretty stiff. But there he is in truck mode. He rolls on my very loud table, as rolling things should roll, and that's about it. So we'll go ahead and get into some size comparisons, and then we'll detach the main truck and go through that familiar transformation we did last time, and that'll be that. Alrighty guys, there he is with the Rubik's Cube, with our beautiful Gormagala statue, the Bumblebee movie Volkswagen Beetle, with last week's review, the leader class Ultra Magnus, and with next week's review, here you have him with the Netflix Optimus, which is the Earthrise / Kingdom Leader Optimus without the trailer. Plus he came with a couple of Battle Masters. Those are in the bin. I'll drag him out for his review next week, but for now, there he is in his truck mode next to this Optimus Prime. Alrighty, moving on to our transformation. What I like to do first is just rotate the guns here back, and then he's got connections from the trailer in 4 different places. You've got a clip attaching the back, a clip on each of these wings going to the legs that I really hate, and then under here you've got this structure clipped around the component that holds the legs together. I don't like these clips. They feel like they don't hold in good enough, and then you go to detach them and they feel like they hold in too good. That was actually not so bad. And what I found is, because his feet are angled up in here, I will actually unclip all of it, then rotate this up and angle the feet out of that gap, so when you're putting it back in, get the feet in there and make sure that the leg is in the gap, and then angle it all in. Now it's not going to do it for me because I'm filming. Oh, it's running into his face. He's kicking himself in the face. So angle that in, then secure the connection, and then secure the wings. So we'll just go ahead and pull him out. And now see, his trailer is staying together. But if I take this gun off or rotate it down, these things have a tendency to start wiggling around. Especially if you're trying to manipulate the guns, the whole thing moves. If I leave this gun plugged in though, I can rotate it a little bit, and then I can start manipulating things here, just the gun, to get things out of my way if I need to, and it doesn't move the whole wing. So we'll go ahead and set that off to the side. I'm not going to do comparisons with just the truck. I don't feel like doing that. So we'll go ahead and get him transformed. I wonder if I can get the shadow off my screen. There. In order to transform this guy, it's going to be pretty much the same as Ultra Magnus, only I don't rotate his hands because they're covered up. So we'll split his legs, rotate them down on their ratchets, go ahead and pop the heels out, stand them up. We'll go ahead and rotate the arms out to the side and just straighten them out of our way. We'll spin the torso around and pull the bumper up so that way it's sitting on the back. We're going to open the torso up, fold his little tiny head out, close that back up, and then you've got a slot and a peg on each side so you can tab the arms in, and then the torso is going to slide back and kind of clip in to that back brace, and then we can straighten his arms out, and we're done. That is him in his robot mode. Now, immediately right away, you're going to realize that this doesn't look like the core robot of the original figure. He's got, the chest is still together when it should be on the shoulders, and he's not got the things on his arms. Now, you can remove these, and they do remove for transformation. You remove them, fold out the gray piece, and then you've got a tab and a slot and a hole and a peg and a tab, and that'll hold it into his arm, and it'll tell you which arm it goes on. And you could do that if you wanted. I don't think it really looks good without the bulky shoulder. It kind of bulks up his forearms unnecessarily, and as I'm gonna say over and over again, if he had the bonus height from the upgrade kit, he would look a little better. And then the arms, they look fine as is, so we're just going to leave them like that. Articulation in this little mode is going to be a ball joint at the head again. You've got tilt, you've got a little up, you've got more down than up, you've got the 360 at the shoulder moves out, you've got the bicep swivel and the 90-degree bend at the elbow along with the wrist swivel. You've got your waist swivel all the way around due to transformation. You've got hips going up all the way. You've got hips going back all the way because there's nothing in the way back there because they don't have that filler piece to fill in this. So you got all the way out on those hips. You've got a thigh swivel, and again, the parts of the thigh start running into the figure, but it'll get you what you need. You've got a 90-degree knee bend that's really high up on the leg, especially regarding the fact that he's going to transform. These little tiny upper legs are going to look even weirder when he's all together, just like Ultra Magnus. So again, the upgrade kit fixes that. You've got ankle rocker down here, and nothing really at the toe, but the heel can bend from transformation if you want to. So that's his articulation. Now, if you're wondering why I didn't go in for a detailed look, it's because it's the same as Ultra Magnus, except for this big old body block right here that just looks like his truck cab, and then the bumper in the back looks like his bumper. The only major difference really would be the face paint, which has the yellow eyes like the original G1 toy, and like a lot of the toys from the Unicron trilogy had the yellow eyes. I want to say the Armada one did in the base mode, and then in his big mode they were like red, weren't they? Go ahead and leave a comment if you remember what color his eyes were in his combined with trailer giant robot mode. But that's it for his base figure. So we'll go ahead and look at a couple of size comparisons between, you know, the three Optimus-shaped Voyager class-ish robots. Then after that, we'll go ahead and transform his trailer. And just for some size comparisons in the medium mode, here he is with the Ultra Magnus version. As you can see, the only difference here from the front is the truck torso bit, and the only difference in the back is going to be the bumpers of the trucks. So pretty much everything is the same. His butt is going to look a little different than his butt, and that's fine because he's got the molded bits here, but the legs are the same, the arms are the same, the head is the same. The only difference is the paint. And there he is with the Earthrise leader version, but the Netflix paint job. So there you have him against pretty much the Earth version of a Voyager Prime. He looks very blocky and bulky compared to him, and I feel like I've said this a lot, but if I had that leg upgrade kit to give him a little bit of height, it might mitigate it a little bit. Wouldn't really fix his tiny head compared to that body, but it would mitigate it a little bit. Anyway, I digress. Moving on to the bigger transformation. Alrighty guys, we've got the trailer back in frame. After those size comparisons, we're going to go ahead and start transforming it. So what I'm going to do first is just fold these guns back to the front. One thing I want to mention that I just didn't bother doing is that you can pull this gun off and use it as a gun for the Voyager figure, which I do appreciate because Ultra Magnus just has the one big gun, so I don't like using it with the base figure. But this looks decent size in both the base and the leader figure mode because it's not too big and it's not too small. So you can pop that off and give it to him if you want. I'm apologizing now for forgetting that, but that's okay. I'm going to rotate the guns down and just pull his feet off. They're connected up here, and then they're connected. There's two slots and two clips, and then you've got these clips and pegs down here, so you just pull those off. And we'll go ahead and set them off to the side for now, and we'll work on the big old backpack piece. I'm just going to fold the wings out for now and fold the guns down just to kind of get them where I want them. This part here is going to accordion up. It's pegged in right in here, so we're going to unpeg it, and it's going to kind of fold up past these, which is why you want them to stay folded down from when we transformed it. And they're all going to tuck under here, and then these parts are just going to swing down and kind of hold that in place. It doesn't peg in, but it's not going anywhere either. And then we're going to take the guns, get them behind the wings, and the upgrade kit would fill in these gaps, and there'd be some nice hidden weapons in there. We'll rotate his collar, neck, shoulder area up, and then his chest up, and we can rotate his head around. I just don't want his face facing up in vehicle mode. You don't have to turn it around for transformation. So there's that part. And here's his legs. We'll separate them, and inside is the shoulder guards. Now, the way these hook in is that there's a little gap. You've got this molded piece and this molded piece here. Let me see if I zoom in, if that helps. So you've got this molded area and this molded area, and then there's just a gap, and this will fit right in that. And let me see if I can, so you can see it in there, It's just snuggled in there, and that's how you know you've got it in the right spot. And in robot mode, the shoulder on the robot's left shoulder and left leg go together, and then the right shoulder and right leg go together. So we'll put those apart. We'll zoom back out here. And there we go. Now we've got the armor all ready to go. Bring in the base robot, flip up the heels, go ahead and pop his shoulders so you can pop the chest out. Oh, excuse me. Rotate the head in, clip on the chest and the shoulders. We'll go ahead and remove these parts from the back, fold out the gray piece like we did earlier, and clip them onto his arms so we can start arming him up. Do it on this side. Now he's upside down. We're going to slide this down on the rail to the bottom and then reattach the back of the spine so that way this isn't in the way of his big old backpack. We'll go ahead and clamp his legs on. And you can fold these out. They're heel spurs if you want. I find them totally unnecessary and just a useless waste of money on the figure. They could have avoided using those parts on the parts count and went ahead and gave him some extra paint somewhere. But you just slide the shoulders over. There is his smokestacks will peg into this big old hole and keep those in place. And then for the backpack, you just clip it to his spine, and then it's gonna tab in. You got two tabs on the bottom of his chest piece that plug into tabs on the front. We'll go ahead and try and get him standing in a meaningful way, so that way he's not just... And what I like to do as far as angling the wings is just angle them against the guns, against the backpack, so it gives him a slight tilt without being too crazy. And there he is in his robot mode. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the details. Alright, we're going to go ahead and zoom on in. Oops. Zoom on in, I said. Alrighty, there we go. As far as his details go, focus on Prime. There we go. He's got the helmet. Looks like it did on the original figure. You've got the yellow eyes and then just the folded out parts. Little bit of yellow on the crest and around the mouth guard, silver on the eyebrows and the mouth guard, and that's it for paint for the chest. Nothing new on the lower chest, but the upper chest is a new piece, and it's got some silver paint, some of that silver scuffing. The shoulder armor is designed to look like this. You get Autobot symbols, which weren't on the base truck, but you do get the white stripe, and they painted the windows in blue to kind of match that, so that's nice. You've got all the paint that was on the wheels and the color of the plastic on the side there. You've just got the paint from the truck mode there on that. Going around the side, it's all the same paint, nothing new. On the back, it's just the back of his legs. Nothing is painted, but there's new detail there, I guess. And then you've got his big old backpack with his big old silver painted guns. I forgot to mention this, but there's some black paint in there, which I thought was kind of cool that they included it, but it's, you know, it's not totally necessary, but they have it on both sides even, because if you have his backpack this way and then you fold his guns around, this will be visible in robot mode, but this is what you see in vehicle mode, so they painted both sides of that. On the wings, you've got the silver. You've got the, you know, the faux painted wheels, which have the silver painted on them as well to match the actual real wheels. The only thing is that they've painted this whole area black, when if they wanted it to look like this, they should have left it red, or painted some red in there to mimic the red of the wings, if they didn't want to just try and leave that red still red. But I mean, that's being nitpicky. As far as articulation goes, he has a ball jointed head again. You can look up pretty far. You can look down a good amount. He can do a tilt. Shoulders, you've got a big old gap here, so he can move his arms out 90 degrees. You've got the backpack getting in the way, but he can still move his arms up 90 degrees. It'll run into that. If you move the gun out of the way and move the wing out of the way, you can get it up all the way And if you manipulate it, you can even rotate it all the way around. He's got the bicep swivel, elbow bends 90 degrees, and that's the same as the stock robot, so his wrists are also the same. Despite the new armor, you can still pretty much get all the rotation you need out of it. It's just not 360, so you just gotta to maneuver it one way or the other. And now it's stuck because my giant fingers can't rotate it past the armor. There we go. And then the legs are completely the same. The knees even go pretty much the 90 degrees, and you'd still get the ankle tilt, and the heels move out if you want them to. And then you can rotate the guns up if you want to. I usually leave them down unless I have him wielding his big old cannons. Like I said, you can pop this off, and you can give it to him if you don't drop it. So I'm going to zoom back out and show the legs again, because I'm pretty sure that they did not get covered in that zoomed in thing. So he's got the same articulation at the waist that's not hindered like it is by the backpack on Ultra Magnus. You've got the exact same hip articulation. You've got 90 degrees of knee bend still pretty much. And then you've got the heels that can flip out and angle if you want to. And then you've got the ankle tilt. So pretty much everything you had before, only the heels can stay in without bothering it. And the base form, if you have the heels in, it kind of destabilizes the robot. And then you can rotate these guns up if you want. I like to leave them laying down until we get him into his big gun mode. And then he's leaning back, so I'm going to give his legs a click forward. So there he is in his robot mode with his gun in hand. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in his backpack. And if you're wondering, I have it upside down for trailer mode, and then the handles just kind of line up. So I leave it that way regardless of whatever mode it's in, just because you can hear those ratchets clicking forward, but then they click back, and it's just like, I don't know. But here we go. We'll go ahead and show off his big gun pose. So we're going to rotate these forward. You might have to flex it a bit. You might have to move the leg out of the way. You could always rotate it if you wanted to. We're going to move him forward, bend his elbow. This peg is on a slider, so you can get him holding it in a more downward position, but I'm just going to leave it forward and plug it in, and then we'll go ahead and get the other gun in on the other side. And there he is with his guns plugged in, maybe, and then we'll just splay his arms a little bit, and then the wrists rotate to help with that. Get his wings situated, and then since I've got his big guns on him, I'll go ahead and fold up his little guns. And if he had the upgrade kit, there would be more of a gap in there because they just all start running into each other. There he is, all armed up in his robot mode with all his weapons and stuff active, and that looks pretty good. That looks pretty cool. I like the way that looks. So without for much more talking and blathering on, we'll go ahead and get into some size comparisons and then get into our final thoughts. There he is with the Rubik's Cube. There he is with our Gore Magala statue. There we have him next to Bumblebee Movie Bumblebee. There you have him with Leader Class Ultra Magnus. So they look great together, just like before. There he is with the Netflix version of the Earthrise Optimus mold in his robot mode. He'll be the next review for the Voyager Leader Friday scale. And there he is with the Masterpiece 44 Optimus Prime mold. Alrighty guys, final thoughts wise, I love this thing. Excuse me. I really do wish that I had the upgrade kit, because it would give him just a little bit of height and it would make this area look a little less like a cluster. But all in all, I think it looks the part pretty well. Like I was talking about in my Ultra Magnus review, this molded detail right here is more to simulate the Cybertron Optimus Prime look. These guns came with the original Seige Ultra Magnus, and they came with this guy too. These are totally ripped right off the look of the old Cybertron Optimus Prime, and so they already had the guns ready to go, and they just slapped them in Ultra Magnus for, you know, the fact that it was part of the mold, and they just gave him the weapons because he has weapons. And he needs more weapons, apparently. I never used them on Ultra Magnus. I didn't think they looked good. But I like the way they look here, folded up. I like the way they look collapsed. And as you saw earlier, I used them to kind of keep the vehicle mode together. But anyway, anyone who doesn't like this, that's fine. You're allowed to have your own opinion. But I think it's really good for what it is. Is it exactly like the original toy? No. Do I care? Not really. I don't care. I like it anyway. But if you like the toy too, go ahead and give the review a like. Comment saying you do. If you like the review, give it a like. Go ahead and subscribe so that way you can see more of my content. Go ahead and binge away some of my playlists. Go ahead, follow my Twitter and Instagram links below so that way you can see when I'm going to post a new review, hopefully roughly a day before it happens, or hit the notification bell if you want YouTube to let you know the day I posted it. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good